I'm Justin Flom, and you're watching Eric live on the air.
This is where it gets really weird. This is a little bit more strange. I have some headphones. iPod headphones.
So Justin, you are at home now for your childhood home, right?
That's right, I am. I'm in Minnesota. It's freezing cold here. Freezing. But it's not that cold for them. It's like 30 degrees, which is really cold. I'm from Las Vegas, and I don't like it. I moved away from Minnesota for this reason.
So you have been having quite a busy year, and it just started.
Yeah. 2013 has already been really good to me.
So talk about some of the highlights from this year, and maybe towards the end of last year as well.
Yeah, last year was the best year of my life. 2012, really, really good. We spent all year creating as much magic as we could and giving it to the people on YouTube, and after a year of that, we ended up with a video on YouTube that had 4 million views, over 900,000 shares of a video on Facebook, and an appearance booked to be on Ellen Degeneres. And that was all before Christmas. And then since then, I got to do the Ellen Degeneres Show. Those videos have gone all over the web. And now next week I'll be on Australian TV via satellite from Las Vegas. That's going to be fun. And we're working a lot in Los Angeles, talking about different possibilities of what is next. But more important to me than what's next with, big time producers and agents is that I'm still creating stuff for the web and for my fans and for people like you. I really enjoy creating magic and putting it online.
So most of your magic is really your own. Like, I can't say I've seen somebody sit in Starbucks and drink somebody else's drink before.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And for the people watching, any of this stuff is all available on my YouTube page. So if you hear something and you're like, I don't know what that is, go watch it. It's really fun. That was something we sat down and we created based on a very, very old principle in magic that they used to use for ventriloquists. Used to use this to make it look like a ventriloquist the dummy could drink a drink. So we use this concept in conjunction with the new concept to make a drink appear in my drink. So the first time we filmed it, didn't work, failed, and then we went back, tried it again. It totally worked, and there's this. We had to do it twice. This lady sits down right in the camera shot, and she just goes, "Are you filming? Are you filming?" Oh my gosh, she ruined the shot completely. It was terrible. But it was so your question, yeah. Do I do original magic? A lot of the things that I do are things that are twists on other effects. So I want to be able to take an effect and add my own twist to it. So, linking lifesavers is like the linking rings, but with lifesavers, and then I wanted to also add on to that and do the thing with the neck. So then it kind of becomes this whole thing that you can really hook onto, and it's a routine.
I'm trying to figure out. There are two ones that I really like. I mean, I like them all. It's just there's two that I was like. One I really wish I could do because it would be such a great thing, which is filling back an Oreo.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that. It'd be such a lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money. And
yeah.
The other thing is, the throat. I don't even know what to call it. Like, what would you? It's pulling something out of your throat, putting something into your throat, and
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's weird, too. I remember the first time we did it was for this block party we did in my backyard. And we didn't know what people were going to expect, what reactions they were going to give. But people were creeped out. But at the same time, it's not totally gross. It's creepy, but I'm not, shoving razor blades in my tongue or anything like that. So it's got that good balance.
yeah, I'd prefer you to not shove razor blades down your throat.
Noted. Duly noted.
Speaking of all that stuff, I have to ask, when did you start doing magic, and what was what made you say, yeah, that's what I want to do?
I was, my dad did magic before me, my uncle did magic before me, and my great-grandpa, also an amateur magician. All of this means that I'm going to grow up around the coolest tricks, the coolest people, and clowns and jugglers and unicyclists were always hanging out at my house. I was this close to being a juggler, I swear.
Can you juggle?
Yeah, I can juggle. I can do knives and torches and even fireballs, these balls that you light on fire, and if you juggle fast enough, you can hold the fire in your hands. But I was doing all these crazy things when I was a kid, and my brothers did it, and my little sister. So there was 4 of us, Justin, Joshua, Jordan, and Janelle, and we were the Flom kids. And we would go around to fairs and churches, and when I was 12 years old, we ended up going overseas to Peru, and we did shows for thousands of people over there. And we loved that so much as a family, performing together as a family, that we ended up doing that in Kenya, in Egypt, I did it personally in Jamaica, but we went back to Peru. I've been back 8 times to Peru to perform. Oh, wow. One of the times in the stadium with 6,000 people in a stadium. It's the most fun. It's just insane. They think I'm a celebrity over there. I'm not. They think I'm a celebrity from America just because I'm white, but that's a different story. I was the only one who ended up taking it as a professional. My brothers, they're in business. My sister, she's a photographer, so she does wedding photography. She's the best at it, and it's really helpful for me because she shoots all my videos. She has just the best eye to make these things look good. And I'm coming into it right at the point where technology is perfect. Everything is filmed with photography cameras now. Everything from episodes on television of House to some movies have been filmed on these cameras now. And my sister shoots the magic. I edit it. I add music and make a really good team.
So does she also do all your photography?
She does. I'll drag her out and we'll go wherever and shoot. We've done some fun shoots in the desert. Most of the time what it is me and my wife and her will be out on the road somewhere, Arizona or Los Angeles or something. We'll find a cool spot and we'll just stop and take some photos. And that's it. We haven't really devoted much time to going out and having a photo shoot. We'll just do it whenever we're out and around. So it's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to work out. I mean, all your pictures look like you planned them, and
Thank you. That speaks to my sister Janelle's talent. So you can look her up online, Janelle Elise Photography.
Did you always know that this was going to be your job? I mean, how did you start doing other jobs and you were just like, look what I can do? And
I have not had a real job ever. When I graduated from high school, I moved to Branson, Missouri. Tiny little showbiz town. 6,000 people live there. That's it. And but they have over 100 shows. There's more theater seats in that town than Broadway. There is over 50 theaters, I think, and that's full-fledged theaters that have a box office and theater. It's insane. And we built our own theater there. We took the upstairs of an old restaurant. This restaurant, pieces of this restaurant were shipped over from England. Giant building, beautiful wooden floors everywhere, giant grand staircase. You go up the staircase and you'd be at the Imaginary Theater and Magic Parlor. That was my place. You'd walk in through these secret bookshelves and be in a lounge where the first half of the show would take place. And then you'd go over into the more traditional theater where the big show would take place. And it was only 108 seats, so it was really exclusive. We wanted it to sell out and have low overhead and really be able to do a lot of shows for a close, intimate group of people. That way you can do sleight of hand and all of that, right under their face. But also we were doing large, big tricks also right under their noses. We did that for 5 years. And then from there, I got married to my beautiful wife, Jocelyn. We moved to Las Vegas and started traveling around. So, say that again?
It had to be a J.
That's right. She was going by Blair, her middle name, because in the South, some people had trouble pronouncing Jocelyn, so she goes by Blair. But then when she met me, we started calling her Jocelyn just because it was a J.
So naturally, she fit in well.
Of course. It was a prerequisite.
So, what made you decide to stop performing magic there?
We lost all our money.
Wow.
Well, we did. It's a difficult town to make it in because there's so many shows, and 8 million people a year visit Branson, and that was back when I was there 5 years ago. 8 million people visit the town a year, but only half of them are going to go see a show, and then of those people, they're only going to go see one show. So you're fighting with 150 shows to get that audience. It's a difficult thing. So the theory now is to become somebody that people want to go see. In Branson, you wake up in the morning, you go, well, what should we see tonight? We could go see a magic show, we could go see a circus show, we could go see a music show. But instead, I would rather be somebody who comes to your town and you buy the tickets months in advance and you put them on your refrigerator and you go, I'm so excited, Justin Flom's coming to town. So that's what we're building towards. We're building towards creating that sort of magic and feel that people want to go see whenever we get to tour.
Yeah.
I just want to be real, and I don't want to do anything unless it's fun. I just want to have fun. Now, I'm not ever going to say that I'm a comedy magician. I learned, because I'm not that funny. So I'm a really good magician. I'm not that funny. But if you watch the Ellen appearance, you'll see that funny moments happen in natural occurrence. I asked her to take a lifesaver because I was going to do a trick with them, and she ate it. She put it in her mouth. That's funny. I didn't tell her to eat it. We didn't talk beforehand. I didn't even get to meet Ellen before the show. So that was just a funny thing that happens. So there'll be lots of comedy in my show, just because that's how life is. And magic is a very funny thing, because if I have a coin in my hand and I close my hand and I open it and it's gone, your first reaction is to laugh, because I just short-circuited your brain. And that's a nice little bonus thing to astonishment.
Yeah.
Probably the first show that I did back in Branson, 2 hours. The shows are 2 hours there. So that was a big step, was to write the show, create the show, and then to do it. And that was all on my own, and that was a blast. And since then, now I don't think of them in senses of doing large shows. Now I just want to create these pieces of magic, like the how to steal coffee from somebody at Starbucks. That's just a little piece, and then soon, hopefully, if we get something on television, or if I get to do whatever, we can take that piece and we can then do it on whatever it is that I'm doing next, whether that be something on stage on the road, something on stage in Las Vegas, something on television, or something for the Tonight Show.
Yeah. I know you really want to get on the Tonight Show.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Just because of the legacy that the Tonight Show has. It's just that symbolic thing. I don't even know if it's not that it's as important these days. I mean, back in the 80s, that was the gateway to success. Now I think there's so many different avenues. But the Tonight Show is a signal that you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, I knew you wanted to do that because I believe there was a picture of you with your parents there or something.
Yeah, I got to visit. I have a friend who works at the Tonight Show, so me and my sister and my wife got to go and watch a show. It's a better live show than it is a television show. It's amazing. It's so big. It was inspiring, and it really kind of changed the way I thought about live entertainment because everything is so engaging. Because to make it, when you're watching a television set, to make it appear this big through this small television set, you got to make it giant for cameras. So the music was pumping, and they're throwing out T-shirts every commercial break, and it was great. It was a great live show that just happened to be broadcast on television.
Yeah.
So that was a neat revelation.
So, how would you compare the Ellen experience for that? I mean, when you obviously I assume that probably affected how you went on Ellen and what you were going to do.
Yeah, it's there's a certain kind of magic that can be done for camera. You want it to be really strong and really visual, and I can perform things for camera just right to the lens. But it makes it more difficult when I also have to perform now for a real person right here.
Yeah.
So it's not like performing for a large audience because you want to focus on the camera because that's what millions of people are watching. But then I also have to impress Alan. So that was a challenge to figure out what magic I could bring on the show that would accomplish both. And I think we found the interactive thing was a very fun thing to get to do just because everyone at home got to take part and interact. Usually you just sit there on the couch and you watch, but it was nice to make them go do something.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I mean, obviously that's where I heard of you from, as I told you, and that's because I love Ellen. But yeah, it was a cool show because I did like that you could interact with it.
Mm-hmm. It was really fun. And she was so kind, just so nice. And she said after the appearance, she goes, come back anytime. So now I'm working on what's next. Because the Lifesavers and the Oreo and all that, the Oreo was created by a friend of mine named Bizarro, and another friend of mine, Kaylin Morelli, put together the Lifesavers with the headphones thing, and then the thing at the end, the interactive trick is just this wonderful thing that a guy named Jim Steinmeier came up with that I kind of modified for myself originally. And then, so all these things took like a year to put together, and they're like, all right, send us your next spot. I'm going, oh, I have no idea what I'm going to do next. So I'm working on what magic we do next. We're already thinking about what we're going to do this year for the block party.
Okay.
We're looking at, okay, do we bring a Ferris wheel and put the Ferris wheel in the backyard? What do we do? And then the other hard part is I don't have any money. We don't have money to do this sort of stuff. So if there's anybody watching this who's uber wealthy and who likes the videos that they've seen and wants to see more and the videos to get bigger and bigger and bigger, well, we've got some really cool concepts that use ordinary items from people's backyards and garages and Home Depot, like a giant saw from Home Depot that goes through somebody's head. It's an amazing illusion, and it's a fantastic creation. But all these things cost money, so the challenge is building towards that too.
You should try and get sponsorships.
That's a good idea. Do a Red Bull thing.
Just anything. I mean, just if you say you want to do a saw, then somehow present it and then go to the company and say, look what I can do with your saw.
You tell DeWalt, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take your saw, we're going to put it through somebody's head. They're like, we What are you talking about? We can't put our name on that. No, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, if you did Red Bull, that's surely easier because then you just have to show the can. I mean, as long as you're not killing somebody with it.
Exactly. Anyway, well, we got some. I put on my fan page lots of different questions. I said, "Ask me what you want to know," and we got a whole lot of different. I sent them to you before.
Yeah. Before
we started. Do you want to go through pick one of your favorites?
Sure. All right, I like this one from Timothy Larson. Do you think that it is more important that a magician have innate skills, or can lots of hard work overcome a lack of them?
Yeah, great question. So is it better to have the talent and the skills already there, or is it better to work hard for them? I think you value it more if you work hard for it. I don't think that I've got some natural ability with magic, but not a lot. The stuff that I do with a deck of cards or with anything, I've found that I have to work a little bit harder for than other guys. I think for that reason, I pick more carefully the things that I want to learn and really spend hours and hours and hours on, which is a valuable thing because then you really are only learning the best effects that you want to do. And it just adds value to it. I think you value it more when you've worked really hard for it. If it's easy, maybe you don't really care about it as much. So I'd say I'd rather really put in the hard work.
Speaking of the hard work, I have to know, what was the first trick that you did that you were just like, got it?
Well, the first trick I did when I was 2 or 3 years old, my dad would take a handkerchief, he would tie a knot in the handkerchief, and hand it to me, and then I would go, and I'd blow, and the knot would disappear from the handkerchief. But that was no skill. I didn't have to do anything for that. The first thing that I was really excited about, probably this effect I created called card artistry. That really combined things in just such a pretty way. It combined this beautiful move that made it look like cards were appearing, but then instead of playing cards, it was this beautiful painting. And it just looks like you're painting a picture. That's fantastic. That was a really big moment when I created that. And then it made it even better that it was something that audiences really liked. And a friend of mine got to do it on Ellen Degeneres back in October. That was a big milestone. I had never had something of mine go on television before, even though it wasn't me performing it. So happy. Very, very cool.
Who did it on Ellen? I'm trying to
the host of the Cupcake Wars, a young guy named Justin Willman. And he's a good friend of mine. We're working on some stuff together, too. He's awesome.
I really like him, too, so hook me up.
He's very funny. He's very, very funny.
You guys would be a really good team because
the Justins.
Yeah, I know, right? And this, I feel like because you guys have a very similar personality, in that you're both funny, and I don't know that you really try to be. And you're both really good at magic, so.
We got to do something last week. We were in Ohio appearing at an event together. I was performing and he was performing in the same show. He called me, we got to do something, man. What do we got to do? So he came up with the Dueling Magicians. And then I kind of came up with some pieces in it, and we kind of put this together. And we both walk out on stage to the dueling banjos, and we've got our magic effect, one that we both perform, incidentally. This is an effect that we both perform. The inventor of it was also at this convention, this big event. And we're assembling our trick like a soldier assembles a rifle. We're assembling the pieces on either side of the stage. And then we both do the trick in sequence, and I do something flashy that he can't do, and then he made his middle finger appear and flipped me off. And then at the very end of the whole thing, the inventor walks out and takes a bow with all of us. It was a really fun kind of insider joke. Just both of us performing the same illusion, battling it out. That was fun.
Well, there are two questions. One, who would you say is your favorite to perform with? And then, what is your favorite trick to perform?
I'll give you my favorite moment I've ever performed anything, and I'll give you it's just the best moment ever, and it answers both of those questions. I was doing an event for a guy who owned this company in Los Angeles, and I knew that he was friends with Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, and I knew he was friends with some celebrities and all that. I had no idea if they were going to be at this party, though. But I'm doing magic at this party and walking around, and of course there's 50 Cent. I go, oh man, this is going to be great. I go up to him, and I take some $1 bills, and I count them out, let him feel them, see them, and I change them, each of them, into $100 bills. And he grabs my wrist, and he pulls me really close, a little scary, and he says, yo, I got a whole lot of singles. And I said, get one out. So he got out a $1 bill, and I draw his attention on the bill to the treasurer's signature. There's on both sides of a $1 bill is the U.S. Treasurer's signature on the bill. And I showed him that, and I just kind of started to rub it a little bit, and the signature morphs and changes into his name. It now reads Curtis Jackson. And his whole crew around him lost their minds. A woman screamed, "It says Curtis Jackson!" And they went nuts. The whole time, Fiddy just is standing there, just staring. That was the most fun I've ever had performing. It beat out being on television, and it's the best feeling in the world. Because from his perspective, I was the only white guy at the party. Nobody knew he was going to be there. Nobody knew that Fiddy was coming to this party. He probably didn't even know. And yet this guy walks up to him, borrows a $1 bill from his pocket, changes the signature, ink and paper, to read his name. That was, I wish I could experience that from his side. That's really cool.
I wish I could experience that. Sometime when you're in this area, I'm just going to hand you a $1 bill, and I want you to make it say my name.
Sure.
Well, because...
What other questions were really... what were you going to say?
No, I was going to actually go to one of the other questions because of that.
Yeah.
It made me think of Jason... I'm going to really mispronounce it.
That's okay.
I think is his name, Jason Hubert. What was your most embarrassing moment performing on stage? The exact opposite, let's think of.
This happened... I'm looking for where Jason's... Anyway, well, Jason, I'll tell you. I was 20 years old, performing in Branson, and I had this effect, and there's a secret thing that hooks in to make me levitate, okay? But first, before I levitate, I'm sitting down on this bar stool. And I'm about to make it snow. It's this really cheesy old thing. I went through an evolution and really kind of have developed a specific brand that only uses ordinary objects, and I want to make magic out of real things. But this was something where I would use a Chinese fan and make confetti come out of my hands. That's not the most embarrassing part, although it's a little embarrassing. I go to start to levitate, and I realize that I'm tangled up and it's not going to work. So I go to get off of the chair, and my right leg is tangled in secret magician stuff, and it's attached to the stool, and it's going to still want to levitate me. Just my right leg at this point. And I fall forward, but I'm standing, so try to imagine this. I'm standing on my left leg. I have a stool dragging behind me attached to my right foot, and I have a secret device that's going to be pushing up my foot to levitate. So as I'm balancing on one foot with dragging a stool behind me, and it keeps pushing me forward, thinking that forward is up because now I'm, at a different angle. It keeps pushing me forward. and then I'm trying to fan confetti out of my hand. And so it's looking awful. It looks terrible. People don't know what's going on. And then my assistant in a beautiful red dress walks out and tries to lift up the stool but now she's tangled in it too. It was the worst thing. And then, of course, I just close the curtains. Get out of there. Good night.
That's pretty bad.
And then another time this was recently, I was performing on a cruise ship, and so arrogant. I walk off stage, and the host of the show said, "Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, bring out Justin Flom." And I go and I open up the curtain like this, and my table was right in front of the curtain with all my stuff on it, everything, and the curtain just rips the table and everything all across the stage. So I was like, "Thank you!" Oh, it's terrible.
Well, did people laugh?
No, they just kind of go, "Oh, that was weird." They do that on purpose? I don't know. Anyway.
All right. How about you pick one of your questions from here?
Yeah. I see that. There's the Jason Hubert most embarrassing moment. Favorite thing about my job from Kyle, I love creating and I love traveling. That is my absolute favorite thing. Creating and traveling. I like flying. Hope asks what to say to people when they think I'm fake. I say they are absolutely right. I am absolutely fake. They're just tricks. There is no such thing as real magical powers. Everything I do are just tricks. So when they go, "I know how you do that," it's a trick. I go, "Wow, that is exactly right." I like Paul's question, "Are you a magician or an illusionist?" They used to say that an illusionist did the big stuff and a magician did more living room type magic. I think I'm both. It's whatever you want to call me. Yeah, it's again a magician illusion.
A magicianist or
Something.
A logician.
If you ever watch Arrested Development, he doesn't like the magician in that show, Job, doesn't like people calling his stuff tricks. But they're tricks. I like doing tricks. I want to be paid to do tricks, and then I'm happy.
What do you think about the people out there that like, there are some magicians that I've heard, they're like, "Oh no, magic is real." And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, those people, most magicians, like myself, are going to be skeptics for psychics or mentalists or telepathy, any of that stuff, because we understand that psychics shop at the same magic stores that we do. They read the same books that we do, and they're just using those methods dishonestly. So I don't ever want to be one to take advantage of people. It's just entertainment, and if I'm going to do something and really try to make people question whether or not it's real, that's misleading. However, you do want the magic effect to be good enough that it's almost believable. Like when you see something with the throat, you go, "Did he figure out some loophole in physics that makes this, that I just don't know about?" If you got that sort of thing in the trick, then it's a really good trick because there's almost something believable about it you can sink your teeth into.
I did try to put my headphones through my throat. I just started to pass out. So
awesome. Don't sue me. Let's see. Teach you how to levitate a snowball? You'd have to hold me at gunpoint to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I like this question because I was asked this a lot growing up. People ask me, how can you be a Christian and still do magic? So I'm a Christian guy, and that's an important part of my life. And a lot of people think that magic is evil, and it ties back to that same thing of are you taking credit for magic powers? Well, it's very important. I never claim to have any magical powers. And oftentimes if I'm performing in, say, Africa, where my little sister just got back from doing magic in Africa last week. When you're there, you have to say what I'm doing is tricks, because they don't understand that it's magic tricks. So if you say, I have a coin here and I'm just gonna take it and make it disappear like that, you have to then explain, no, it's in the other hand. This is just a trick. Yeah. And then after you do that, then you can take advantage of what they think there. You can take advantage of what they think. Let's see if I can do it better this time. Right there, see?
Yeah.
And then it's a lot better. It's just right about there. Excellent. So that's just an example of something that you can show to somebody in Africa, and then you reveal the secret. So that's important to reveal the secret, because I'm never taking credit for the magical power. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think so. I mean,
I got off of the trail of the question. So magic is not evil, because it's just tricks. In fact, when I use them on stage as a Christian, I'm using them as object lessons, kind of like Jesus would use parables. So that's to answer Lyndall Jones' question. And then Janelle asked, when will you have new videos and material? Hopefully later this week. And then I think last question was Lee Winters asked about Card Hit Wonder. Did you see the video for Card Hit Wonder?
I believe so. Explain to me, and whoever didn't see it, what Card Hit Wonder is.
Card Hit Wonder is all music and magic. So I take a deck of cards, and we start to play this mega mix of songs. And so all these different songs play, like The Summer of 69, 8 Days a Week, or When I'm 64, any song with numbers in it. And as we do that, I'm dealing out cards and shuffling cards, and the cards always match the numbers, all the way leading up to the end at 8675309, the very famous song from the 1980s. And when it plays, I deal out 8675309. It's a really cool trick. And I wanted my own version of a story deck. So that's an old trick where you would tell a story using cards, and you would talk about, so I met this guy named Jack, and he was dressed like a king, and we met at 49th Street. And you'd deal down cards and shuffle them doing that. I like that, but I really wanted to do it with music. So my buddy Joe Trammell from Las Vegas, and we both arrived at the idea at the same time. Whoa, you got to do this! And it was awesome. 3 days later, I had put in the first draft, and it's been really fun to add songs since. My favorite part is Umbrella by Rihanna. She goes, Umbrella, Ella, Ella, A, and I put out 3 aces. And I thought of that one driving home, and that was the best moment. I was so happy. Yeah. That's my favorite part of the routine.
Josh, who was saying what is the best way to perfect your own magic tricks, because they're expensive, which is true.
I didn't answer Josh's question. Yeah. The best way is to do magic with ordinary items. So figure out magic that you can do with what you're carrying around on you. Figure out magic you can do with packs of gum, or anything like that. So with lifesavers and with Oreos. And it's going to be challenging at first, but really come up with those effects, because those are the effects that are going to be most entertaining and relatable. Mm-hmm. So you don't need big boxes. In fact, stay away from big boxes, because if you watch a magician on stage and he's got a big box and a girl disappears, you go, oh, it's probably a special box. Well, you're right. It is a special box. And that is how the trick works. So now, even though you don't know where she is in the big box, you know it was the box. Well, that's not cool. Whereas if you're doing a trick with lifesavers, you can go, well, Ellen took 2 lifesavers and she tugged on them. They must be regular lifesavers, which They are. In fact, I have to go buy lifesavers tonight because I'm doing it on television again tomorrow. And I go to Walgreens, buy some lifesavers. That's a better piece of magic because now it's something that other people have in common with you. They've used it themselves.
Well, I would definitely agree. I mean, I think it's, that's part of what your videos I really like is that, I have a dollar bill, I can't do that. Or I really like Oreos, I wish I could do that. And so it is pretty cool. And I think the best part of your videos is when you do it with people. Like, I think my favorite video that you did was the one at the Minnesota Vikings game.
Oh, thanks.
I love the Minnesota Viking game because you're watching a bunch of people that are stoked for football and for Adrian Peterson, and I can really.
I love Adrian. We got the best fans in Minnesota. We got really great fans here, and they were super fun.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like really cool and really well done, and the best part was like you could do that trick, and if you're by yourself, you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. But when you see it and there's like 15 people around you and they're freaking out, it's awesome. That's what makes like a live show so awesome is the reaction.
It's also proof that the magic is actually happening on the video. If I were to do something alone and there's nobody else, and I'm in a studio, well, there's nobody proving that what I just did actually happened.
Yeah.
You trust these Viking fans because I had never met them. Yeah. But you trust them that they're reacting to whatever they really saw.
Yeah. As a Patriot fan, I have to question.
Did we get I think we got all the questions.
Yeah.
Brian Pearson asked how old I was when I did my first card trick, and I was probably 10. Probably 10 by the time I started working with cards. But I didn't really learn sleight of hand until I was 16.
Thank you again, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you everybody who watched and everyone who asked questions.